that your voice matters, that it feels so much better to like get it out. It does get better. Don't allow yourself in here to convince you that you aren't worthy of having a better life, because you are. My name is Raelynn Kirk. I am a recovering addict. I have been clean for 20 months. I'm from Sisseton, South Dakota. I've been living here in Sioux Falls for the last 7 years. I moved down here because I had a severe meth addiction and I wanted to get away from the reservation. I was sober for a year, but I mean, it didn't last. I lost my best friend, and it was hard for me to deal with the grief. And so I ended up using that as a reason to kind of go back out there. And I had severe anxiety and like depression, and I couldn't ever really think clearly when it came to that. Like the decisions that I made were always like impulsive, and I always ended up like either in jail or in the hospital because of it. Like I did a lot of self-harm when I was under the influence, and it wasn't just the addiction that I was battling. It was just things that I was running from back home, and I didn't know how to bring that out and talk about that, to bring it to the light, because I was really ashamed of it. The anger of it came out when I was in my active addiction, and then that's when it started, and I felt like I felt like I wasn't being heard, and so that's what it made me so angry. Like I wanted to be heard, and the more that I ran from it, the more that it came out like on other people around me, and I didn't deal with it. Like I didn't know how to. I didn't have like these coping mechanisms. I didn't listen either when I was being told what to do. I'm like, you guys don't know what you're talking about. There are a lot of people who think that like the getting help for mental health is like, oh, you're crazy, or they have these things like just letting people know that it's okay. I was really young when I had my first experience with a mental health counselor. I was afraid of her, at first, but she really knew how to like kind of get me. Like she worked her way into my life and got me to kind of open up. Being that young and letting out all that like was kind of scary. Who can you trust, and she made it to where I could trust her, and I needed that. When they took me away from my mom and she comes in, I'm sitting in the drunk tank, I was only 13 years old, and she comes in and she was like, they want to send you away to a juvenile detention center. She goes, but, and there was that but, like that hope, right? It gave me this hope. And she goes, but I fought for you, and instead we're gonna send you to a treatment center. She was that person to like really, she saw that potential in me, and she knew that I was gonna be somebody one day. That, I think, really changed a lot in my life, because if she wouldn't have been there, I think I would have been in the justice system at a really young age. At first, like when I tried to sober up before, like it was like, oh, I'm doing it for them. I was doing it for them, like everyone, and it never really worked then. But this time, I've been doing it for myself. So it's been, someone said that whatever you're doing, it must be working, and it is. Me being the youngest in my family, watching that most of my life, it's crazy because it just turned around real quick, but I hear it and I see it. I can feel the healing, not just from me, but my older brother, who is now clean too, like it's starting, in one way. And I just hope that it if it doesn't get my parents, but I hope that it helps my nieces and my nephews. I have lost 4 friends, and one of them was a really, really good friend of mine. No matter what, don't give up on yourself, because you deserve to be whole with yourself. I just feel like the more that I love myself, because I know that I'm not giving up, And so don't give up on yourself, even like no matter what anyone says, no matter how hard that it gets, just keep putting that foot in front of the other and allowing yourself to unfold and be your crazy messy self, but don't just know that you're not alone.